High Tension, also known as Switchblade Romance, is a 2003 French slasher directed by Alexandre Aja. This new French extremity film follows best friends Marie and Alex, who decide to spend a quiet weekend at Alex's parents' secluded farmhouse. But on the night of their arrival, the girls' getaway turns into an endless night of terror. If director Alexandre Aja's name sounds familiar to you, that's because he went on to direct the remake of The Hills Have Eyes and Piranha 3D, as well as the fantastic Crawl from 2019. High Tension was my introduction to the new French extremity movement, and really was my introduction to extreme cinema in general. And man, what an introduction it was. For this review, I watched the unrated version, which is the version that I recommend. And the reason why I say that is because quite a few of the kills are truncated in the rated version. And I feel to get the full experience, you need to see all of De Rossi's special effects in all of its glory. If you enjoyed the makeup effects he did for Lucio Fulci, you're going to love the makeup effects in High Tension. Which brings me to my first positive, the effects. High Tension is unflinchingly gory, mean-spirited, and just an overall nasty little slasher. There's a pretty good amount of creativity with the kills, from decapitation to a nice deep throat slitting, a dude getting disemboweled with a power saw, and an old-fashioned axe to the chest. Victims are dispatched in all kinds of gory and nasty ways, and these scenes are drawn out. The carnage begins around the 20 or 30 minute mark, and it never lets up until the end of the film. Which brings me to my next positive, which is the pacing and the suspense. Aja wasn't lying when he named his film High Tension. The first time I watched this film years ago, it kept me at the edge of my seat. This film is truly suspenseful. I do feel that on a rewatch, it does lose a bit of that suspense because of the ending, which we'll get to in a bit, but I still feel that the pacing overall is fantastic in High Tension. I also felt the cast was fantastic, especially Cecile de France as Marie and Philippe Nahan as the killer. I also love the original score. It never really feels like your typical slasher score. It has a lot of low tones and it's very somber. I especially love the fact that we open the film with Muse, who's one of my favorite bands. The cinematography also lends itself to adding more suspense to these brutal and intense scenes. As much as I love and praise this film, I do have a few issues with it as well. My first issue is with the dubbing. This is in both the unrated and R-rated version. It's not a total deal breaker because so much of the film really doesn't have to be supported by a lot of dialogue. So much of it is action, but still those scenes of early exposition and character building, the dubbing just doesn't match up with the characters and it feels a little off. My other issue is with the plot, more specifically the twist ending. Just in case you haven't seen the film, I won't spoil the ending, but I know folks are a bit divided about it. I feel that it's interesting in concept, but the way that the story unfolds, it does create quite a few plot holes. Now, you could explain that away by saying that we are seeing this from the viewpoint of a potentially unreliable narrator, which can work to an extent, but doesn't totally explain some of the events that unfold through the film. This isn't a deal breaker for me, but it's something that I feel holds this film back from being a classic, which is why I'm going to give High Tension an add to the collection. High Tension is a great example of what the new French extremity film movement has to offer. The practical effects, kills, and gore are all top-notch, and the suspense will keep you at the edge of your seat. Besides some dubbing and plotting issues, I think that High Tension is a fantastic slasher. Have you seen High Tension? What did you think? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, be sure to leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to support the channel even more, get your name in the opening credits, along with requesting a movie or a full franchise for me to review, become a Patreon today. Link is down in the description below. Thank you so much for coming by, and I'll see you guys on the next video.